That's good. All right, I'm Steve Lundin with BIGfrontier, and we're talking with David Hedison, who I recently interviewed for the Chicago Tribune, who's appearing at the Hollywood Collectors Show here in Chicago, Illinois. I'd like to start out, David, with a couple of questions.
Sure.
I think you're best known for your James Bond stuff or your Voyage to the Bottom of the Sea stuff? Or?
I think they're all equal because somebody will come up to me and say, "Oh, I love The Fly," and they go on, and other people come up and they say, "Voyage to the Bottom of the Sea, you were such an inspiration." Everybody has different tastes. Some people like all three. You know, it's hard to tell which is more popular.
Now, what do you think was sort of more of a rewarding experience for you? Or are they all about the same?
I think the most rewarding, is working with Richard Basie, because he's such a fine actor. So those 4 years with him was just fantastic and a great treat. I love working on the BBC in London with Lee Remick. We did Tennessee Williams' Summer and Smoke.
Oh.
And that was the highlight. It was just such fun working with her.
So you like live theater? You like on stage as opposed to...
I do. I really do. Because you know why? It's because you have all that time to think about the part. You have 3 weeks rehearsal more, and each day you bring something more to the part until finally you've got a well-developed character to show the audience, and that's what's so great. But in TV particularly, you get a script and boom, you're on the camera, you know your lines, and they do one take or two, and then you go home, you're driving in the car, and you think, why did I play that scene that way? I didn't even have a chance to think about it.
How was it working with Irwin Allen?
Well, he's crazy, but he was a great showman, a great salesman. We disagreed on everything.
You did?
Yeah, because we wanted, Richard and I both wanted more character development and situations where you really, could figure out these characters, who they were, and how we would deal with each other. But it's so funny. Once Richard was sick, and they just gave me his lines. And it just made no sense, you know.
Oh.
And I'm thinking, well, anybody could have read those lines. And there was no character, just nothing. We just tried to make it as believable as possible between the two of us. And we had such, such admiration for each other's talent that we really tried very hard to make Voyage to the Bottom of the Sea something special.
There wasn't a lot of backstory, as I recall.
No.
You were introduced in the pilot episode as the replacement captain when the other guy was killed.
That's right, exactly. By Gary Merrill, I think.
I don't know.
Somebody. But that was it. And but working with him was fabulous, and I enjoyed every minute. I loved doing The Fly. When I read the script, somebody else was supposed to do it and turned it down because he didn't want his head under the cloth for a third of the movie.
Yeah.
A very vain actor. So I read the script and I went crazy. I thought this is going to be a great film. And I went to Buddy Adler, who was then head of production at Fox, and I said, please, can we do progressive makeup in this, where when she pulls the cloth off, you see my eye, you see part of me, to see the pain and what's going on in this man's mind. It could be fantastic. But he said, no, we're going to put you in a cast and we're going to do this. And it's a cheaper way out and all that. And they missed a great opportunity. And it would have been a great thing for me. But they went with a mask and people bought it. People liked it. And I remember when I was in the Spiderweb and the Help Me sequence. And there's the spider coming towards me, and I'm really frightened as a man. This goddamn spider is going to eat me. And I'm screaming to the top of my lungs, help me, I'm going nuts. And when the scene was over, the crew applauded, because it's such a believable moment. So when I saw the film, I suddenly realized, oh my God, they're wrecking it. Because they cranked up the sound, and it became, and that's what happened. They used the regular screaming, and they just boosted it up. And I didn't think it would have the same effect as listening to this the true man's voice, and listening to it just in a tiny way, but still it's his voice.
Sure.
And not some crazy thing. Anyway.
Now, how was it working with Robert Mitchum?
Oh, he was the greatest. It was my first movie. It was called The Enemy Below, and he was fabulous. I mean, he's a pro.
Yeah.
And he could look at a page of dialogue. That's it. He had a photographic mind.
Really?
He could just look at the page, put it down. That David Jansen, the actor, was another one who had the photographic mind. They were terrific. But I'm one of those that had to work hard, get the lines in my head, glory, and grind it into my head, and then finally it became part of me. So that was it.
You were playing a military character during the Vietnam War.
Yes.
And what were your sort of feelings about that? Since you said you were constrained by Irwin in terms of addressing social issues and things like that, but there was this. You were living in a social issue.
Yes, we were. It was 1984. That was the year.
Yeah.
And we're talking about the future and the Russians and all that stuff. 1984, that was nothing. And here we are in 2010. If that was supposed to be 1984, we made it in 64.
Yeah.
I mean, if we were really thinking, or Irwin was thinking, when I grabbed the mic, the intercom, it would be a while.
No.
Come on. This is 84. You pick it up and you walk around with it.
They did get that on Star Trek.
They did.
They got that
yeah,
right.
They were a little smaller. Yeah, and they did that. And it would have been much better to have this mic with you all the time. You could move around, stay in one place with that damn wire.
So he was kind of married to the military surplus concept.
Exactly. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. And all he was caring about were the explosions and the bombs and the monsters and the aliens and the lobster man and the fossil man and
But you got to work with a bunch of interesting people on that. It was like
the guest stars were marvelous. You know, looking back at it, I mean, at the time I was poo-pooing it and I didn't want to continue with the series. I wanted to leave. I was especially upset that there were no black actors in the cast. I said, well, can't we have a couple of black people? There's some wonderful actors I know who should be on the show. One could be the executive officer, another could be this or that or whatever. So they finally brought somebody in, and he was Filipino, and not supposed to be black. And I was furious. I said, no, come on. You've got to do this, you know. But those are the days. This is 64, still back of the bus, and all that nonsense. Anyway, I didn't get my way, but it's a new world today.
Absolutely.
Absolutely.
And then the Bond experience is probably its whole complete animal, I'm
that
sure.
was great. That's a different experience. I mean, that's a big budget movie, and they treat you first class. Go first class in the airlines, and you have a wonderful room, and they take great care. And I really love doing those two Bond films, especially the one with Roger. License to Kill was a lot heavier.
Yeah, that's sort of your scenes in that are kind of downers in a way, with the woman killed at the wedding and that stuff. Were you eaten by a shark or something?
I was eaten by a shark. They chewed off my leg. Chewed off my leg, and I
Your wife is killed.
My wife is killed. They chew off my leg.
Yeah.
Anyway, it was fun. It was great fun making it, and I love the other. I love the heavy. Robert Dahl. I work at the Actors Studio in New York, and I work with a lot of young actors, and that's what keeps me busy.
Well, he's a young actor.
Hey,
Second
you
City.
want to be an actor, huh? Fantastic. You want to be, you will be. It's as simple as that. You make up your mind about one thing, and you're going to do it, and you're going to work hard. And believe me, it'll happen. If you work hard, and you don't fool around, and you don't drink too much as you get older, or take drugs, or any of that nonsense. People kill themselves. People with great talent suddenly gone. But you're going to work hard because you made up your mind that I am going to be an actor. And you will be, and it's going to happen.